Hello everyone and welcome back to the Inner Sanctum Voxcast episode 4. Joining me today is a good friend and member of the community, Dutch, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi guys, my name's Dutch. Nothing really fantastic to be fair. I'm just a bud of Percy here and play a few games here and there about Total War and Warhammer based general stuff, so that's what I'm here.
Had some real fun Total War games. We have to have some more at some point soon as well.
Oh, definitely, man. Yeah, I've especially with number 3 coming around.
Right, yeah.
Bit of hype there.
I don't know if they've announced any actual release date for it yet.
No, but you can only dream.
Yeah, it would have. I kind of wish that they would have during Warhammer Fest, but
no, definitely. It's pretty exciting that what possible content they're going to bring out for it. I've got my hopes and dreams for it. Specific certain race factions and stuff like that, but whether or not they'll supply, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's going to be cool though. Like I feel like both Total War Warhammer 1 was a success, then Total War Warhammer 2 was even more of a success, and I think that 3 is just going to it has even more hype and going to be even more of a success. I personally feel.
Definitely, man. I mean, you've got the introduction of Kislev, and then you've got the possibility of Cathay in the background, and the demons.
Right, yeah.
So it's big hype. Definitely got it on pre-order.
Yeah, I don't have yet.
Soon to come.
There are a bunch of minis and Warhammer 40,000 Battle Sector is something I want to pre-order as well.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah. I've always thought whether or not, like, I know it's a bit out there, whether or not they could ever have done a 40k version of Total War. I don't know. I guess you got Dawn of War for that. But
yeah, but Dawn of War is a bit more of a just like RTS, I feel.
Yeah.
Whereas Total War is a bit more turn-based strategy. I think if you limit it enough, you probably could. If you just limit it to like a single war zone. I can't think of any war zones at the moment, but if you have this war zone where it's like chaos cultists and some demons and some Astartes and Imperial Guard are both there to fight it back or something, like you could do something like it, but
yeah, no, I see what you mean, definitely.
But
I could go with that.
Before we get all too into that, I do want to ask some questions in what I call the friendly interrogation.
Go easy.
Yeah. So we'll start with the one I always start with. What got you into Warhammer?
It's a bit of a long story, but so when I was about around 10 or 11, I remember like my dad coming home one day with like some Lord of the Rings style minis, you know, like the ones that they sell in the shops themselves. It was like some goblin from Moria type goblins. Yeah. And I remember him like making them, painting them, and he was like, "Yeah, have these, play with them." And I thought they were amazing. And then I ended up getting some elves, just a couple of other characters here. And I remember like one day for Christmas, he brought me home like the big elephant. I can't think of the name off by heart. I had one of those, and I thought, "Oh, this is awesome." And then we went to the store itself, and he showed me, and I thought, "Oh, this is wicked!" Like, you know, they do way more than just Lord of the Rings stuff. They do other stuff here.
Yeah,
and that was where I started getting into it a bit more. I got myself my first pack of Orc Knobs, which was the first group I ever had, and from there onwards I started building this massive Orc army. Because I had this one pirate captain, which I can't for the love of me think of the name for, but he was awesome. Like, he was a metal figure, he had like pirate's hat on, it was great. I even got a battle wagon as well, and I think it was about like when I was about 15, 16, I got a bit bored and like of collecting orcs, and I foolishly ended up selling them for about £60 when they were like way worth more than that.
Geez,
I made a big mistake. It must have been about, I don't know, off the top of my head, around 250, 300.
Yeah.
I've sold it for it's like 60 quid. I'm an idiot.
That hurts. Jeez.
It does hurt, man. But then after that, it was more the video games, like the Dawn of War franchise, the Space Marines game for the Xbox 360, which was amazing. It's prime. And only recently, like the past couple of years, from I've been playing with yourself on like Total War and other games, it's sort of sparked the interest again a bit more into like I don't know, like the Imperium side of things, but also just the Death Corps of Krieg. I keep going on about it, but I will eventually get myself some units for it.
I think that's something that like a majority of the fan base has. Like at some point, I'm gonna get Krieg.
Yeah.
When I sell my kidney, I'm gonna get Krieg.
No, definitely. I like the whole concept of it, of like this like World War One-ish vibe, trench coat style thing.
Yeah.
And as of recently, I've started getting more into the Warhammer Fantasy side of things with the Skaven, which is where I'm at the moment, really, dude.
Yeah. That's I actually remember just as you said that when you were talking about the Lord of the Rings minis, it actually reminded me of something that I had entirely forgotten. I actually played tabletop Lord of the Rings at a like sci-fi convention.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of funny that it was sci-fi convention because Lord of the Rings is not sci-fi, but it was fiction in general. And I remember it was actually the one, I can't remember the room, but the room where Balin was buried, where they made their stand. And Gimli jumped up on the tomb and everything. It was actually that scenario. I can't remember much else, but that was real cool. I had entirely forgotten
that is awesome. No, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah,
enjoying it.
I'm kind of curious though. Why did you go with orcs in the first place?
So I don't know. It was, I saw them and I thought. So I remember like having my first lesson of painting with the guys in the shop, and it was a Space Marine, and I was painting him. And I was like, yeah, this guy's cool and all, but that guy's got a big gun, and I want that one. Like he's got a gun on his shoulder. Like that's awesome. I want that. I think it was just the variation was just out there. It was a bit wild. Whereas obviously, you know, like with the Imperial Space Marines, you've got more order release style things. Whereas an orc, you can just throw anything on and it will look relatively alright.
The thing is, like, of course you can kit bash, for example, a very unique looking custom Space Marine chapter, but then you do kind of have to kit bash all the Marines in that chapter to look similar and just have it look in general uniform in some sense. But orcs, you can just put anything together, toss anything on, and bam, it's an orc. It's
and you've got obviously the Gretchens, and the Squigs and stuff like that. So it was just different, and it was quite fun to make, really.
Speaking of them, what did you think about the relatively recent orc reveals from? I believe they showed some during Warhammer Fest, but they've shown some others before as well.
I thought that was right. It did give me that like memory of like, Wicked comes back, like, getting all a bit of a hype again about it. Yeah, I thought they were all right actually. Probably won't collect them personally, but it's still something to add to the collection.
Yeah, that's I do think they look really good. I'm not gonna get them because I don't really collect orcs, but they do look good.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'm curious, since that interest in fantasy has been there, has there been any interest in trying out Age of Sigmar, since Age of Sigmar is what fantasy transitioned into after the end times?
Yeah, it's a shame that a lot of like some of the factions that are already in it are like present today. Like, you got your vampires and Tomb Kings and stuff like that, which kind of suck because like they were actually quite decent looking models and stuff. Maybe with the Skaven that I'm collecting at the moment, I might get more interested in doing perhaps a couple of battles here and there if I know a couple of people that might collect them as well. Personally, it's just for the collecting side of things and having them, and building myself a small army of Ratmen for the time being, and then maybe, I don't know, later down the line might play a couple of battles here and there and see what kind of power I can put into it, because it would be quite nice to do that again. I used to do it with my orcs when I had them, and that was fun. Like every Saturday you go down there and play in the store, and you just see who wins type thing. Nothing special, it was just a friendly game.
Yeah, I think though, are the flesh eater courts the vampires? Could be mistaken. I've yet to learn a lot of AOS, which I am actually going to learn on a upcoming episode. But as of right now, I don't know that much.
I know like they've got a mixture of like Tomb Kingish stuff like that. I know they've got Nagash as one of the lords as well, which is he's a pretty cool model.
And they have Archon the Black as one of the Mortarchs of the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, which is apparently sort of the Age of Sigmar variant of Tomb Kings, from what I've heard. And they do really look it in a sense. They do have that very skeletal vibe, not the same amount of Egyptian vibes.
Yeah,
but they do look awesome, and I may have 1 or 5 in my cart on Games Workshop's website.
Nice. So it's just that temptation of actually buying.
Yeah, it is. It is. And at the same time, I'm just like, I could get this. This looks way different from what I usually paint, so I'm not really sure if I want to make the effort right now. So I could also get more Space Marines for my chapter. I also want to kit bash a big Tyrannid.
Nice.
So it's a lot of balancing that has to be done. Jeez.
Yeah, no, I could imagine. Tyrannid-wise, though, like it's a very bold character to go for there.
Yeah, I have some. I have some Hormagaunts. Only one of them is painted the way I like, because I actually painted all of them as different hive fleets and some different just custom schemes.
That's pretty
because
cool.
I was trying to decide how I wanted them to look.
Yeah,
but only one of them is actually the like final look at the moment. Then I have a one Broodlord that is finished, one that is almost finished. I have a Trigon that is almost finished, a Hive Tyrant that isn't really almost finished, and I have another Hive Tyrant on the way, and I have some Gargoyles on the way, and I have some Gene Stealers.
Oh, very nice, man. Very nice.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing them when you get around to it.
Absolutely, yeah. It's getting there. It's getting there. It's slow because I do keep coming back to my Space Marines, but
yeah, no, totally, dude.
Definitely needs that though to like sort of break in between things here and there.
Yeah, no, I feel like if you're going to stick to something, you definitely need a little bit of the time to work on something else here and there, because otherwise you can get a bit bored. I think personally, that's how I work.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I got the Indomitus box, which was Primaris Marines and Necrons, so I sort of used the Necrons for a while as like just a break in the flow of things, to just spruce it up a bit, mix it up.
Yeah, no, totally, I get that.
Yeah, but in the long run, I don't really. Like Necrons are cool, don't get me wrong, but they're not really something I'm all at for collecting, not right now. So it just sort of became sitting there and painting them for the sake of not painting my Space Marines. Like, I didn't have that same drive for it, right?
Yeah, how did you find putting them together? Because my brother used to have like Necrons. I remember just like he was putting them together with really fiddly little arms and stuff like that, and they would end up like just breaking quite easily. Did you find it all right, or?
Yeah, they were like, some of them were like, I know the Necron warriors were a bit fiddly. The legs were pretty thin and fragile, but then again, I had been just assembling Primaris Marines for like half a year at the point where I made my first Necron. Some of them though, like the Scorpack Destroyers, they were quite alright. They were, if I remember correctly, they were a bit annoying to get right. Could remember wrong. And the... Geez, I forget what the HQ that you get in the Indomitus box. I forget, but he was a bit of a tedious one to put together. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair play to you, man. I wouldn't personally touch it, because I just feel like, especially with like the Warriors, just like a little bit picky.
I felt the same when I put together. I have a pack of Skitarii for AdMech. I have only put together and painted one of them, or I'm halfway put together and painted a second one. But that one that I've actually finished, it's again, I'm so used to Primaris, so I'm used to be able to press a little bit when I'm putting things together, but as soon as I do that there, the legs just break if I do anything too harsh. Jeez.
Yeah, no. I know they've obviously got I think, I can't think of the top of the head. I remember he's got like a shadowy figure type character, like the Lord. I can't figure the name at all, dude. But it's the I'm just gonna have to Google this now. It's gonna really bug me.
Which faction?
For the Necrons.
Oh, the Necrons. Do you mean the Silent King?
I think that might be the one. Yeah, it is, man.
Yeah.
It's just he's a pretty awesome model to like look at and stuff like that.
Oh right, yeah, he has a model now because he's actually doing stuff.
he's useful.
Because he if memory serves, right?
Yeah.
Because all the Necrons after the War in Heaven and their subjugation of the Catan sort of went into hibernation in their pyramid tombs.
Yeah.
But the Silent King did not. He and like his closest royal guard, I forget the name of them, they stayed awake, and among other things he left the galaxy and was in the void in between galaxies and saw the Tyrannid threat there, among other things. So he, if memory serves, I could be wrong about this, please let me know if I am in the comments, but he sort of began to plan how to best make sure that the galaxy can stand against the Tyrannids. So exactly. I think it's somewhat why he made an arrangement with Dante, for example, of the Blood Angels, so that I say they fought together. It was more so they said they fought together and neither of them trusted each other, and the Silent King just kind of did everything to make the Blood Angels lose troops instead of him.
Yeah.
But there was a very fragile truce there still, so it's yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it's a interesting battle strategy, to put it there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean he is ancient. He is devious and clever as nothing else. Jeez. That was one of the things I was a bit curious about, because if I remember correctly, in the Warhammer Fest, they introduced one of the new High Lords of Terra, Morven Baal.
Yeah.
Who is the supreme commander, Lord Commander of the Adeptus Sororitas. And I think I remember someone saying that she can go toe-to-toe with the Silent King, which I'm a bit curious about, and I look forward to getting more lore on her and seeing more on her.
Would that
sort of
be an interesting fight? Definitely.
Oh, for sure.
I take it they haven't really fleshed out the lore on this character.
Not yet, no. From what I gather, at least, I'm hoping they have some books planned to come out, but they only showed the model last week, I believe it was.
Yeah.
At the time of recording this, at least, I know that this isn't going to go up this week, so.
Yeah.
But at the time of recording this is the week after Warhammer Fest. And from what I know, she has no previous lore. Again, I could be wrong, but that's from what I know.
No.
Was it coolly? It was a neatly sculpted model though. It looks dope.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen it myself.
Okay. I'll send it to you after this.
Yeah, no, totally. I'll definitely look at
that. But it's Adeptus Sororitas, so it's a Sister of Battle in one of those mech suits and all gold.
Yeah.
Looks pretty dope.
Would you get it yourself?
Probably not, because I don't collect Sisters of Battle.
Yeah.
I do want to get some Sisters of Battle to paint.
Yeah.
Just to try out to paint them, but I don't think I would go for just a regular Sisters of Battle squad. Because that is sort of like the standard Sisters of Battle, right?
Yeah.
So Morven Baal is really cool looking model, but when just wanting to try to paint Sisters of Battle, that is the baseline Sisters of Battle look.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Plus, I also have to get it because a friend of mine, I'm going to bring my hobby supplies to a friend of mine at some point, and I asked her what she wanted to try painting, because it'll be her first time painting hobby and stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And we ended up settling on Sisters of Battle. So I'm going to get a pack of regular just Sisters of Battle, and I'm going to give a try at painting at least one of them, and she can give the rest a try.
Yeah, I take it she's going to start maybe form an army art with it, or is it just for the practicing and trying out first type thing? I
doubt it. It's probably just for the fun of painting and just trying out the painting hobbying, but collecting a Warhammer army is expensive.
Yeah.
And painting the army is time consuming. So I doubt she will, but I do believe she may listen to this, so she can let me know then.
Change your mind.
But back to a bit jarringly, perhaps, but back to fantasy.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Which is your favorite faction in fantasy?
Oh, so I'm a bit
I would guess Skaven.
Well, that's probably my favourite one, with Ikiclaw being my favourite lord. But maybe just like barring out the fact that he pretty much has like fantasy version of nuclear bombs. It's great. I think the next after that, I really quite enjoy the Tomb Kings themselves, but also the Vampire Lords as well.
Oh yeah.
Not so much as just like just the game style of things, but the models themselves that they've had before were awesome. The fact that they don't have many of them anymore, which kind of sucks. But when it comes to like the Lord's perspective side of things and stuff like that, it's quite interesting to learn. Obviously, you go probably what's his name? Cetra the Imperishable, for example, and Nagash as well. Two of my favourite Tomb King Lords.
Oh, hell yeah.
But if I had to choose any over them, it probably would be Skaven, just because of the mass numbers that they can spawn in, the type of creations, almost the bat crazy type, like abominations they throw together type thing.
It's relatively the same roster as mine, because mine is like Vampire Lord, or Tomb Kings first of all. I do like Cetra the Imperishable, of course, and I enjoy playing Archon on Total War, but not all the time. Grand Hierophant Katep is pretty fun to play at times.
Yeah.
Then I think it's the Dwarves that are like second place for me. And I absolutely love whenever it's like an underground fight in the like tunnels.
Yeah.
And I just have like this line of iron breakers, so a shield wall, and then organ guns behind that. I love that.
Do you know what I think would be awesome, like wise, just for like perspective type of things? It's like obviously you got like the dwarves, they have their shields and stuff like that. It'd be awesome if they had like a feature of like shield wall type thing, and like being able to set up formations like that.
You mean in Total War?
Yeah,
or in Tabletop?
Just in Total War, because obviously in the tabletop you could potentially work it out, but just in regards to Total War, it's missing that option. Fine.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool and have that actually like animated, so that the units go together like that. It would be cool.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, then third on my list is the Vampire Counts for sure. Or depends on which Vampire Count. Vlad von Karstein is third on my list.
Yeah.
I'm not that big of a fan of Manfred. Like, he's a strong character to play.
Yeah.
Relatively, but I enjoy Vlad more.
What I think you also get perk wise as well with playing with Vlad is you also potentially got Isabella as well that you can run with.
Yeah.
Which is also quite handy, secondary lord type thing you can use.
I believe, if memory serves, I can actually look this up real quick whilst we're talking here. I believe that the Vlad and Isabella models still exist on the Games Workshop website.
I think also Manfred is as well. I was contemplating about buying him.
I do believe it be that. No, okay. It's at the Night Haunt might be the one. I thought it was no. I thought it was Flesh Eater Courts.
Yeah,
but okay. Let's just search Vampire. Okay, Vampire Lord. That's out of stock. But yeah, that's Isabella. That's 100%.
So I do
Isabella.
have that. Okay. Yeah, because you can get now for this new army, you can get obviously Nagash, you get Isabella. I think you can get Manfred and possibly Vlad.
I know I've seen Vlad at some point. I don't know what he was called, but I know I've seen him. So.
Yeah, they got really boring names, just like
Yeah.
when I got Ikit and Warlord Queek, it was just like Warlord Skaven.
Yeah.
It was
But
only
that is because they aren't meant to be their old world characters anymore. They are just kept around as a cheap way to. Here, this is now another model. We don't change it, but we don't change the actual model, but the rules are changed. The name is changed. So
yeah, it's a bit rubbish that the old world races aren't really that easy to get hold of.
I have heard a few rumors, and I'm personally not sure about how like true or likely it is, but I have heard rumors about the whole old world project.
Right.
Because I know that they showed some Bretonnian knight models
Interesting.
a while ago. So I think they may be doing some kind of revival. Maybe, one can hope.
Do you
but
think
that would be cool.
Do you think that's possibly down to the fact that, because I know they've been working sort of closely with Total War and the franchise, do you reckon that's probably something they'll release around when number 3 hits? Or?
I would imagine if they release, if it is the case that they are going to release that, then that would be the time to do it, because that is the time that everyone is, or I think they would announce it slightly before and release slightly after the release of Total War 3, so that people can get into it and get back into that hype of the old world and be like, oh, I need these models and even more. But they announce it so that there's time to know they're here. But then Total War 3 kind of both builds up that hype as well as revives the initial hype in a sense, right? Because usually they reveal something, but then it takes so long before they release it, so your hype for it is just like, okay, I've been waiting for this for 3 months now, like
I get what you mean.
Yeah, so if they are doing it, then I would imagine it would be best to do it like that. But then again, I know that in the previous episode, myself and Bowden both speculated, because that was before the mystery reveal of Warhammer Fest, and we both speculated for, I think it was like legit an hour or 40 minutes or something, about what the mystery would be.
Yeah.
And it was generally just around the animations that they've hired animators for, and the Eisenhorn TV show.
Okay, yeah.
And then the mystery day came, and it was Age of Sigmar 3rd edition. Like, don't get me wrong here, I am super happy for Age of Sigmar players, right? They have a new edition, that's amazing, that's cool. The models they showed are really cool. I forget the name of that new Stormcast, the lady with the wings, but really cool. I just think that they shouldn't have named the day as a mystery day. I think that they should have named it as Age of Sigmar, because it was only Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, it is.
Naming it Mystery Day just kind of alludes to that it's something new. And sure, it's the 3rd edition, that's new, but it's still Age of Sigmar. That's just me.
Yeah, I guess it also would have led a bit of expectation that we would have had, and then a bit of disappointment to follow with it.
Yeah, because, like, sure, there were some people who speculated 3rd edition for Age of Sigmar, but if they had just put, hey, this day is Age of Sigmar again, then more or less all the Age of Sigmar fans would assume that, and all the fans of 40k or otherwise would be like, okay, then it's not a day for us.
Yeah.
Instead, they built this up, and some Age of Sigmar fans might not even have watched, because they were like, okay, the Age of Sigmar day has come and gone, and they might not even have heard of the 3rd edition rumor, right? And meanwhile, you have all these, like, 40k is sitting there and just like, oh, is it new Primarch? Is it new this? Or, like, I was personally hoping, but I knew it was unlikely. I would have loved a revival of Battlefleet Gothic on the tabletop.
Okay, yeah.
But then just all of that, just none of them got that. So again, I feel it would have been better to just name it Age of Sigmar the day, like, instead of a mystery reveal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit misleading, because, as you said rightfully, you're probably expecting like a bit more like different models and stuff like that. But the fact that it's just not really alluded to what it's going to be, it could have been anything. It could have been just some small changes and stuff like that. You just didn't know. So I can see what you mean. It is kind of rubbish.
And even like, if they were so like, probably the wrong wording, but so desperate to reveal Age of Sigmar 3rd Edition during a mystery reveal, right?
Yeah.
They could have like thrown in some stuff from other factions as well, like, oh, and here are some more models for 40k, and here's some new Necromunda stuff, and like, there's no way they don't have some of that just in store for future reveals. But like, they could have sort of dampened the like blow, so to say, of it not really being what the name mystery reveal built it up to be. Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned about Necromunda and stuff like that. That seems like a big thing that's blowing up at the moment. It looks relatively cool to look at. I know they've got a game coming out as well as just some models.
Yeah, hired gun. It looks dope.
It looks awesome. It sort of reminded me a little bit of like cyberpunk-ish type thing, but just a bit darker, you know?
Actually not played Cyberpunk.
No, I've been meaning to, because I've recently just joined a group that just talks about it, but I'm like sitting there like, yeah, I know what I'm on about here.
Yeah. No, I'm still like that with like Age of Sigmar and Necromunda and Warhammer Underworlds. I'm just like there. Yeah, no, I have no idea what you're talking about, but cool.
But I like it.
Yeah, but I am aiming to learn. It's just that 40k in itself is a lot to learn.
Yeah, it's a lot to take on board, which is, in fairness, it's interesting. Interesting lore. Personally, I looked more into the whole fantasy side of things, just because. I mean, don't get me wrong. If they had the opportunity of releasing a new faction of just space gaming, dude, I'm all in. You sold me. But
I know a friend of mine who is actually going to be a guest on the 5th episode is making the Skaven Marines. He's putting Skaven heads on Chaos Space Marine bodies.
Oh, that's quite cool.
We showcased the work in progress of one of them in episode 1.
Yeah. That's interesting. Very interesting combination. It'd be awesome to see like what else they can do. Maybe like some rat ogres and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I know that he's also getting into some 3D modeling. So I think that is going to help him. He's aiming to get a 3D printer, so I think that is going to help him to like be able to make some custom additions to make more of that Skaven feel, right? Like I can't think of any good examples, but maybe make this like really just shabby looking Skaven weapon, for example.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you've obviously got you've got the weapons out there, like you've got the rattling guns and stuff like that. So you could just borrow those, jazz them up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a bit torn, and again, I was aiming to talk more about fantasy, but this is actually Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Because I do want to buy some models from Age of Sigmar because they look really cool to paint. But I'm a bit torn between the Ossiarch Bone Reapers and any of the dwarves. There's the Caradron Overlords, the Fire Slayers, and I think another one. I forget. But I'm a bit torn because I love the Dawi in fantasy, aka the dwarves. And the Ossiarch Bone Reapers are sort of the Age of Sigmar version of the Tomb Kings, and they do look real cool. So,
I was a bit torn because obviously, as I said before, in regards to like Tomb Kings and the Vampire Lords, there's also the Lizard Men as well, which I think they've got some cool new models. I know they recently released a new Lord Croak.
Lord Croak,
that's the one.
Yes.
And he's just an awesome model.
Yeah. He's actually in fantasy as well, because I know that you can get him as a lord in Total War Warhammer 2. I would because I do love playing Lizardmen as well in Total War Warhammer 2. I say this despite me forgetting that they exist up until the point that you mentioned them now. But I have been ooh, I do maybe want to get some of the Seraphon, as they're called in Age of Sigmar. But my favorite model, or my favorite like unit among the lizardmen in Total War Warhammer 2 is the Croxigore.
Oh, yeah.
The models of Croxigores that are available now do not even... They don't look that good.
Let's just do a bit of dishonor there to the beefy boys.
Yeah, I know that I've heard, or well, I've seen from a few that like the Total War Warhammer 2 Croxigore is apparently not really what a Croxigore should look like either. But I like the Croxigore from Total War Warhammer 2 is the one that I've sort of grown fond of. It was my first introduction to, well, Warhammer in general, really. And to Lizardmen. So it's kind of what got engraved into my head. So I do admit that I would prefer models that looked more like the ones in Total War 2 there, or Total War Warhammer 2. At least for the Croxigores. Like a lot of the other models already look great as is. But
yeah, no, totally. In regards to obviously talking about like Total War and stuff, in regards to the third one that they're bringing out, I know they've like released that it's going to be obviously Kislev and the Demons and possibly Cathay. Do you reckon they'll have like any other lords like out just sparking your curiosity?
I think there's going to be Chaos Dwarves.
You think?
I think, yeah, I do think, because I think that is something that a lot of people felt was missing from Total War Warhammer 2.
Yeah.
And if it is really going to be like the end times, which is kind of seems like it is going to be in a way, I'm not all that sure. It's been a while since I really set myself into fantasy.
Yeah.
But if it is the end times, I feel like some Chaos Dwarves need to be around.
Yeah.
It's going to be real cool because obviously that trailer that we got, it focused a lot on the Chaos Gods. Like we saw Nurgle, we saw Siege. Did we see Slanesh? I think we saw Slanesh.
I think so.
No, I don't think. No, never mind. I don't think those were the actual Chaos Gods. No, it was a Great Unclean One. It was a Bloodthirster of Khorne. It was a something else, like the equivalent for Siege and the equivalent for Slanesh, I believe. I'm pretty sure because like. I'm not all... I need to look this up afterwards, actually, because it entirely escapes me, but I'm not entirely sure if Slanesh and Khorne have, like, solid... This is how they look. Like, I know there's one solid one for Siege. I know there's a really, like, engraved one for Nurgle. I'm not entirely sure, but I think there are. I'm pretty sure there are, but I can't really remember.
Yeah, no, it's... The models, like the character, like I remember just seeing the first one of like, that's like grotesque to look at. Really, like if you don't like bugs, that's not the one to look at all. Especially as it's the first one that you see. I personally would find it awesome if they could introduce some more like monstrous type races, like the Beastmen, not the Beastmen, the Ogre Lords and stuff like Ogre Kingdoms. Purely because I don't think they've like there's not much. They obviously got units of them, but they're not really like that really well into. I think it would be pretty cool to have like a big army of just like big ogres firing like cannons and stuff like that, which would be pretty awesome.
It would. I think. Let me see here. I'm on the Games Workshop website now, right? I think the Slanesh one was I want to say it was a Keeper of Secrets. And I believe the Siege one was, if we go over to Siege, under Chaos and Disciples of Siege, his was the bird one. That's Kairos Fate Weaver. I don't think that would have been a named one, but a similar one, if they have one. Lord of Change, yeah.
Yeah, because I think they've got a lord, like, lore-wise, I could be butchering this now, but there's two-headed one, and he can... The one head can see, I think, into the future, and one that can see into the past, but it's...
You're talking Siege now,
yeah. And
I think that was the Kairos.
It's got the two heads, because I think, because the only way you could defeat it is in the present, because it can't quite see that. which is pretty cool. Like a little mechanic you can throw there.
It's a really neat concept, really. Yeah, yeah, I do dig that. I'm really curious how varied they're gonna go with that direction, because it's obvious there's gonna be demons, there's gonna be chaos. Are they gonna really split it up so that there are like 4 chaos factions with like a Slanesh one, a Siege one, a Khorne one, an Nurgle one, or are they just gonna be like, here, chaos as well?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I imagine that it's probably gonna be like, so you know how like you have several different dwarf lords and under dwarves and everything. I imagine it's gonna be all under chaos there, but you have like a greater demon of each chaos god. So like you have the bloodthirster of Khorne, you have the great unclean one for Nurgle, and the keeper of secrets for Slanesh, and the lord of change for Siege. Is what I imagine. Sigvald might maybe.
Do you reckon that Be'lakor will appear in it? Because I know they released a model of it. Whether or not he might appear in it or not, because he's sort of the first one. It would be cool to have him in it, but
yeah. Honestly, I could see him being a legendary lord. To be fair,
you can.
I know that the model they released is usable both in Age of Sigmar and 40k. And you actually get like different, like if it's the Age of Sigmar one, I think it's a Stormcast corpse, and if it's the 40k one, you get a Primaris Lieutenant corpse.
Right, that's pretty cool.
On the base. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So you get that option. I think that's the case with a lot of the demons, that you can use them in either or. Like if you go and look under Age of Sigmar and then go look under the same demons under. Or under 40k, it's the same kits. Yeah. So which is neat, but that's because the warp ties the two together. Yeah. Right?
It's sort of the only real connection, really, because I know that the lizard men sort of just went off into space for a bit. I like to see ya.
Yeah. You know what would be curious? Now, again, my fantasy lore is very rusty, but the Great Horned Rat is a chaos god.
Yeah, he is. Because obviously, as you play through the campaign and stuff, they worship him, trying to summon him to the mortal plane and stuff. But in regards to like the other like chaos gods, I find it just a bit odd how like different he is. You know.
I definitely do think that he would just be keeping to himself. But, like, it would be cool to see the Skaven be kind of involved. As much as I hate fighting Skaven in Total War, it would be cool to see them involved and maybe sort of delve deeper into the mythos and mystery of the Great Horned Rat.
Yeah, I don't think it's entire. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be a book explaining it all, but I don't think it's that fleshed out, and it'll be interesting to know if there is lore behind it, because it would just be useful to know.
I'm kind of curious because it gets me thinking, right? Because throughout the Warhammer franchises, when this applies to 40k, Age of Sigmar, fantasy, there are definite gods of some sort. Like, obviously you have the gods of chaos. Slanesh, Nurgle, Khorne, Siege, and the Great Horned Rat in some sense. But like in 40k, we know that the Eldari had a pantheon of gods as well, and I don't remember his name. Shigorath, I think, the laughing god, is like the only one that survived, and he is like the god of the Harlequins. And I'm kind of curious, like, where on the power scale they would compare, like compared to the chaos gods. Where is Shigorath? If that name is correct, I could be wrong. And like, it's a bit of a back and forth. Like, some obviously see the Emperor of Mankind as a god, some don't. He's definitely powerful, that's for sure. I'm not too sure about Age of Sigmar, but I would imagine that Sigmar himself is somewhere around that theme.
Yeah.
you have the dwarf ones. You have Grungni, Grimnir, Valea, and I think someone else. But I forget.
It'll be interesting to see like if you had like a chart of like power levels, who's the strongest, who's potentially the weakest, yada yada yada.
It would,
but I think that's a long way off, really. Someone's made it.
Yeah. It would be really cool. Then again, I don't actually know all of the like gods of the Warhammer franchise by hand. So I could be missing out on a bunch of them now. Oh, there's obviously Gork and Mork.
Yeah, completely forgot
the
about
orc
the
as
orcs
well.
there.
They exist.
Yeah, you know, you said you like obviously playing as dwarf stuff. Do you find it when Grimgor gets a bit of a power trip going?
Yes, I hate him. I hate him so much. I actually specifically asked a friend of mine who is going to be on this podcast later on. I asked him because he's in Age of Sigmar. And I just asked, is Grimgor a thing? Because if he is, no. No. Jeez, I hate him. He's so annoying when playing Total War. Oh.
It's Empire just grows. It's like you don't keep tabs on it. Next thing you know, it's like, damn, he owns most of the continent.
You look away for a second, suddenly he's just brought in every single orc clan under his banner, and jeez, just a massive wah, and he's back like 2 turns after you kill him with a full new army, and yeah,
it's a touchy subject.
but the thing is, again, right, and again, there could be some absolute expert master of Total Warhammer 2 listening to this. I'm a noob, okay, so I'm probably doing things wrong. But if I go down to meet Grimgor immediately, I can probably hold him off for a decent time and probably beat him. But then the vampirism above spreads. But if I go up to face the vampirism right away, then Grimgor is nearly impossible to do anything
stuck in a rock and a hard place there. Literally, because you got mountain.
Really. Absolutely. It's, it's tedious, but I really need to install
Could you imagine
again.
Could you imagine what the if they do a Mortal Empire like game mode? Could you imagine how big the map will be?
Yeah. Oh jeez. That'll be cool though. I'm really looking forward to seeing Total War Warhammer 3. It's gonna be fun. I don't even know if they said like an expected year that it's gonna come, but I imagine it's a while left.
Yeah, it won't be anytime soon. I don't think.
I was gonna mention as well the Catan that the Necrons more or less enslaved. They were also like god tier-esque, even though the Necrons just imprisoned them and use their power now. But at one point, they were.
Yeah. I don't quite know much on the old Necron lore side of things, so I'm a bit rusty. But
I know the vague basics. That is all I know. But yeah, there's a lot to learn, to say the least.
It's probably best just to stick to one group, and once you've maybe almost learned all of it, move on to another.
That's kind of what I did. Like I'm not claiming to know everything about Space Marines, but I got a decent idea of everything Space Marine, and just in sort of before I even tried to move to trying to even paint some Tyranids. Plus, I was a tiny bit like, how do I even paint Tyranids? They're so organic compared to the Space Marines, right? But they have been a lot of fun to paint too. But like, I know that at the moment because I am still writing out the lore of my Templars of Sanguinius, and it's like one of the things that I have really struggled with, and I have had a lot of help with figuring things out, and I just want to give a quick thanks to Kyle Hayden for helping me with a lot of the naming and just balling ideas. But naming things, like naming characters. There's Blood Angels name generators, right? But like naming this ship, naming the Fortress Monastery, naming their planet, thinking of this unique title name. It's jeez, so much
It is
naming.
a lot to think, like prep up and everything. I think when I had my old one, I didn't really have a name for it. Then it was just I would just go and play battles, and that'll be it. But I went for more like a very dark, like armor type theme, whereas like as of recent, a friend of mine, he's got like gone for the yellow type theme. So yeah, it's a difficult task trying to name what you want to name it as, you know?
Yeah, because the thing is, like, I'm specifically making it, like, when I started, I didn't start with the intent of playing. I started with the intent of making my own homebrew chapter with lore and everything, right? And I wanted to have that creative expression of painting and building them, and also have that representation of my chapter.
Yeah, of course.
So I went in with the mindset of I'm going to create lore about this. It's slow going. I took time and just read through a bit of a page of a homebrew chapter on the fandom wiki, right? And the amount of effort people put in it really impresses me so much. Like an entire wiki page with campaigns, ranks, unique traits, like all of that just written up about a custom chapter or so. So
it
impressive.
is, especially like with the creativity behind it. It is just hats off to people like that, you know, sit down there and think about it fully. It is just a lot to go through, a lot of considerations that you need to do.
For sure, absolutely. There's so much, and like again, I'm facing that now that I'm still working on the lore of my chapter, because sometimes I go and like settle for this idea, like I'm gonna settle with this, and then like the next week I find out that there's lore that directly prevents this, and like I know that when you're creating your homebrew chapter, so long as you have fun, so long as it makes you enjoy the hobby, go for it. But me personally, I'm trying to make it as possible as possible. So I'm personally not going. I'm trying to avoid going a bit too wide, so to say. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. Again, like whatever makes a person or whatever makes you enjoy the hobby the most you can, go for it. It's all for fun at the end of the day, and as well the rule of cool. So
it's what I like about the whole just the concept of like building armies. Like whenever I've gone into a store and I've started to ask about like, you know, just about certain units, they'll be like asking, well, is it what are you collecting for? Are you looking to play? Are you looking to build yourself an army? What's the plan? And just the options you go with, like, oh, actually, I want to like build myself like a quite powerful army, so if I do battle someone, I've got a good chance. Or I just want to collect it for like aesthetic purposes. I just want to have a look at it and just have a play with like what works and what doesn't work type thing. And that's what I think is pretty decent about the whole, like, just a different type of variations of armies you can get.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love that too. In I say local, it's in the neighboring city, relatively local. My closest Warhammer store, like, and sure, I've been there a few times now. So, but like, I can go in there, and most of the time it depends on who's there at the day. They do remember like what my chapter is, and like, oh, that's that scheme, right? What are you making with these? What are these going to be? And like, that's real cool, and I always enjoy going to the Warhammer store. It's always a friendly and just enjoyable experience. Especially because, like, well, you can relate to them. They are hobbyists just the same as any of us. So you immediately have that connection that you know that you both share in some way, right?
It's sometimes like kind of nice just to go in store and, you know, they're just painted like that. The fact that they're just doing that, it just sort of just reinstalls the fact that actually, they do this because they actually enjoy it. It's not just because it's just a job for them. It's they actually really enjoy what they're doing. I think that's what gives people a bit more confidence.
Plus to them, it's like, well, to them it's normal, right? Like, if I know a few times, like, I've sat and spoken to someone who is like, for one, way older, like they might be, or I'm sorry to anyone who is this, I don't mean to say that you're old, you're just older than I am. around like 35, 40, right? Who don't know anything about Warhammer. And they might ask me, like, so what did you do today? Or what are you up to? Or what do you want to do, right? I'm just like, well, I've been painting some plastic figurines from a franchise called Warhammer. And they just look so, like, confused. I was like, you've painted plastic figurines? But there's none of that when you're talking to people in the Warhammer store, because they all know what it is. They are fans of it themselves.
Yeah, no, I definitely go with me. Like, trying to explain to someone about sometimes a hobby is a bit difficult, because sometimes they might not actually understand what you're actually doing. So it's something you sort of have to sort of sit down and think, if I'm going to get into this, what do I want to get into?
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the things that I've really liked with Tabletop Simulator, right? Because it gives you this chance to really try to play an army and sort of see how they play. And whilst you might like the look of them, you might just hate how they play. But it gives you that chance to sort of try it out before you just empty your entire wallet on an army. Right?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's sort of like why with the Skaven type thing, it's just for, like, at the moment it's just building for aesthetically, but maybe I might play it. It depends if I enjoy it. I mean, maybe
could
might
be
make a mistake if I bought them and then don't like how they play.
Yeah, don't sell them for $60 this time.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually remembered a note of earlier there as well about others not really understanding the same way. I actually showed some of my miniatures to my grandma, right? And I remember I showed her my Sanguinary Priest, was one of them. The firstborn one. I recently kit bashed a Primaris Sanguinary Priest, which I know I mentioned in a previous episode that I was going to put up on screen, and then I forgot to put it up on screen. So in this episode, I'm going to put it up on screen, and if I forget it, feel free to slap me. But I showed the firstborn Sanguinary Priest that I painted to her, and she was like understanding, like, "Ooh, this is cool, very, very good job." And then she made the mistake of asking how much it cost. And I'm Swedish, so it was Swedish crowns, and I believe it was 270 Swedish crowns, which I think is like $25, $24 ish. And like, to me, I know that's one of the cheaper models. But she was like, "Oh, that much for this little thing, and it's not even built when you get it. You got to build it yourself and paint it yourself." And yeah, that's the point.
No, I totally get what you like. I just got Storm Fiends today, and they're about like 40 quid for 3 figures, and you're like, this is expensive. Like, I wanted a Hellbit Abomination, but you don't have it in store. I want something to do. I was like, right, I'm just going to give in and get these guys. And they turned out awesome, but the wallet seems painful.
One thing that I find kind of funny, and do excuse me because I have to open up Games Workshop website again for this, and I'm actually going to go to the UK one because that way I can see it in actual pounds. Let's hear Xenos armies, Tyranids. That's the one, right? So you have the Trigon. Which can be built as either a Trigon Prime, a Trigon, or a Morlock. But you have the Trigon for 50 quid. Then you have the Start Collecting Tyranids, which is a Trigon, a Broodlord, and 10 Gene Stealers for 60 quid. I don't see, if you're building a Tyranid army, I don't really see why I would ever build, or why I would ever just buy a Trigon when I could spend legit 10 quid more, or 10 British pounds more, and get a unit of Gene Stealers and a Broodlord with that. Like, I could sell them onwards for more. Like, geez.
Yeah, it's the starter packs I find really awesome, because you do get a bit more in them. Like when I started my Imperium, I've got a Lord and a few units, like a truck type thing. I've butchered that because I can't remember the name. But it was 100% way more worth it than just buying a squad, because it's just, you get a bit more, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but I really want to make this like really well in my head. It looks cool. I want to kit bash a Tyranid that I can sort of have like this is kind of a HQ. I don't know what I would play it as, but it would look cool on the shelf. And I know that I need a Trigon for that. I need the bits of a Trigon for that. So I was on the Game Workshop page, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna get just a Trigon when I can get more Gene Stealers and a Broodlord with that. I only have 10 Gene Stealers right now. I may as well have 20. Like, sure, I already have 2 Broodlords, but I can use the bits of the other Broodlord for other things. Like, jeez. Yeah, it's.
I've not really like personally experienced with like kit bashing type like that because
I have really gotten into it lately, mainly because I've gotten to that point where I have a lot of leftovers, so to say, both in the pile of shame and just bits that were like optional that I never used. So I have a lot to pick from, but I also feel like it really gives a more unique look in a sense. Like I can look at this and be like, this is more so unique to just me. Like, sure, there are several who have built the same thing the same way, but when you kit bash like that, it's bound to end up a bit different anyways. So I do like that. Like, again, I can put up on screen here. If I remember, I've been kit bashing a sort of champion of the chapter. Like, well, the Templars of Sanguinius are, unsurprisingly, Blood Angel's successor. But I kind of wanted to have the idea of what if they basically had something along the lines of the Black Templars Emperor's champion. So I've been kit bashing a champion for that, and I really love how it's turned out. But it's not done yet, even though I have the bits for it finally. It's just 2 shoulder pads that need to be primed, put on, and painted. I just cannot be bothered. I'm just kind of out of the hype for that right now. But I did recently get a new Marine model that has sort of brought me a bit back into the way of things, like back into speed, as it were.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But it's a lot of fun kit bashing. It's obviously sometimes you really mess up, unfortunately, and it's like I always felt I felt that when I first started. Because, like, sure, I had kit bash before where it was like I took a head from a different kit, right? And this was actually this champion that I actually like. It was like, I think it's like 5 kits or something. And I actually had to start cutting and carving away to fit it all together. And it's like, still, I paid like up to like 70 quid to get all of these parts. Do I really want to start cutting into this? But no, it turned out well in the end, and obviously it doesn't all the time, but like a coworker of mine used to say, money is meant to be spent at the end of the day. If you just sit and do nothing with your money, how is life going to be
very
then?
Wise words, very wise words.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to take that advice with a pinch of salt. Don't spend your entire month earnings on Warhammer minis and then stand there like, oh, what am I going to do about rent?
How am I going to feed myself? Yeah.
I can eat the screws.
If I heat them up, they might taste better, maybe.
Maybe not. I'm pretty sure they're flammable. I know that you can melt them with. Oh, jeez, I think it's a certain type of alcohol, like the. I forget the name of it, but like the kind you have for like nail polish removers. I think that's the kind that you can sort of like melt it down with. But yeah, that's kit bashing is fun.
Let's give it a go. It'll be quite fun to like try and make something monstrous.
If you were to just think of something off the top of your head on the spot here, what do you think you would want to kit bash? If you just didn't have to worry about buying the kits, just if you had whatever kit you could.
I don't know. So I wouldn't mind, like, I know you've obviously got the standard Hellpit Abomination style creature, but if I could, I would have more like Gatling guns, warp fire throws, just to make this massive a tank of this abomination type creature that's walking around with like it's just spewing warp at enemies. I think that would be pretty cool.
I just kind of imagine something like, you know, the like scrap titans that orcs have in 40k, like these massive titans. I just imagine something like that, but scaled.
I think it'd be pretty cool to have that walking around the battlefield. Just
that could be cool.
Just a gas bag, just like warp, smelling dead flesh.
It'd be a wicked cool model in the end. I imagine it could be a pain to paint.
Yeah.
Mainly because it'd be rather large for one, and it would be a lot of stuff going on. But still, could absolutely turn out amazing.
Yeah, like if yourself, like, you could put something together, like just out of the blue, what would you like throw together?
Oh, geez, So I have a few plans that I want to kit bash, right? One of the things I want to kit bash, and it's partially kit bashing, it's partially just what I want to do when I learn to green stuff better, and that is to make a Primaris version of Reclusiarch Paladius, the Black Templars. But if I could kit bash anything, geez, this question was harder than I thought it would be. I thought I would have just been like, oh, I for sure want to kit bash this, but I would probably want to kit bash some really cool looking dreadnought, to be fair, like a Space Marine dreadnought. I had this idea a while back, and I'm not sure I'm gonna do it, but of basically just using a Adeptus Titanicus Titan to try and kit bash into a kind of unique looking dreadnought. Could be cool, but it's a bit much to spend on a body at the moment to then kit bash with. Plus, I don't really have the like generally I get the idea of what I need to do, what I want to kit bash. Like, I get the idea, I need bits from this kit. Like, for example, I want to kit bash some Primaris Sanguinary Guard, right? So I already know I'm gonna need the Sanguinary Guard kit anyways because of the wings, right? And probably because of the weapons as well. I'm probably gonna need some regular like assault intercessors to have as the legs. I'm not entirely sure about the chest plate yet, since they have the like chiseled abs one. I may look to 3D print there. But like, I have this kind of like idea of what I'm gonna need, right? But I have nothing like that for the dreadnought idea.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Oh, one thing that actually I would love to kit bash some more, just more unique units in general for my chapter. Like, I know I've said that I've made my chapter master the chapter master is myself, of course. I am the chapter master. I've made myself a model.
Nice.
I know I've said that twice. I'm no longer so sure, mainly because of some slight changes in the lore. But the second one might still be the chapter master, I'm not sure. But I would still love to just like Chief Librarian, Reclusiarch, all of that, just kit bash something really wicked looking.
Like, have you, like, because obviously you've got the Games Workshop store itself that you can find models from. Have you ever like looked at, I think it's like Forge World? Have you looked at some of their like models that you could probably use?
Yes, I have. I have some things from Forge World as well.
Aren't they? Don't they come through as like resin models? Most of them.
They do, yes. But unlike the resin you would get from Games Workshop, Forge World resin is good. Yeah, like if there's not even any comparing the resin from Games Workshop, the Finecast resin, and the Forge World resin. The Forge World resin I haven't had any issues with as well at all. Like, sometimes you get an issue that like there's an air bubble that left a hole. Like, if it's too bad, you can usually just contact them and they'll replace it, right? And usually it's just like a bit of liquid green stuff or something, and boom, done. But otherwise it's like maybe a sword is a bit warped, hold it in warm water for a bit and bend it back and done. So I've honestly only had good experiences with Forge World. I got the Crimson Paladin squad, which is the Cataphracti Terminator squad for the Blood Angels Legion in Horus Heresy. So they look real dope. Again, I'll put up pictures of these if I remember. And I did get the Blood Angels Praetor in Terminator armor, which I believe was Tartarus Terminator armor. But, and I'm slightly ashamed to admit it, I kind of effed up his assembly. So, like, the body is all fine. The head is upside down because it fell out of my fingers and the super glue just prevented me from fixing that. So, nice. But then I have a Leviathan Dreadnought as well. Because I have always wanted a Leviathan Dreadnought. Yeah. They look amazing. And now I have one. And I think that's all the Forge World stuff I have.
Yeah, you just need to go for what's the model? A massive one that you can. It's like I think it's about like £1,000 or something like that.
There's more expensive.
Yeah, I think it's just.
I think the Forge World. That's the name. And again, apologies everyone, but we have, here we go, Titans Imperium, and it's the Warlord Titan Builder. So a fully built Warlord as cheap as I can get it here. It'll probably be that. As cheap as it gets is 1,334 quid. If I want to go for the most expensive, I can get on that. It would be 1,367. It's not all that much, but still, that's some money.
It's a big model too.
I know this is such a fun experience for everyone, just us browsing. Oh, that one was way more cheap than I thought. The Tyranid Hierophant Biotitan. That one's just 284 quid. I know that one that I really want is the Astraeus Super Heavy Tank, which is 231 quid. It's basically a really big Primaris tank.
Yeah, it's worth saving for.
Yeah, they are really cool models. And again, like I've personally never had any issues with Forge World models. I know there have been cases where people have had problems. Usually it's just, if it's a legit major problem, just contact them and it'll get fixed. And if it's just like some air bubble, you can easily just cover that up with no problem.
Yeah, it's It's interesting because I was thinking, as I said earlier before, about the whole Death Corps Creed. Yeah. Like it was going to be something that I was looking to buy from there because I got some wicked tanks and so on. I think the more you look into it, the more you're like, oh, I want this, and then it slowly becomes a trap.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing now. But there is some rumor of some plastic Horus Heresy kits coming. And if that's the case, and I know this is rumor back and forth and everyone has varied opinions here, but it could be that they're just kind of like slowly phasing out Forge World and making plastic versions. Like, I don't know why they haven't, because if they made plastic Krieg, that would be a money printing machine for them.
Yeah,
like,
people would. I could imagine people would like fork out the money next to just an awesome unit. Like,
absolutely, because like, sure, if you're a massive Krieg fan, if you want nothing other than Krieg, then you're probably gonna get the Forge World one. But at the moment, it's enough to look at a single unit of Krieg and go, too much. But if you look at, for example, Games Workshop stuff, and I know that they've raised the price for some plastic stuff recently, so some of it is outrageously expensive. But again, they produce an amazing franchise for us and an amazing hobby. But if you were to see it there at a reasonable plastic price, you would see like, oh, this unit isn't that bad. I can get one of these now, and I can get one of these units next month as well. And suddenly you've spent way more just building up a massive army. because you find the actual kits more affordable. So yeah, it would be a money printing machine. I feel, yeah.
At the end of the day, I find that okay, it is a bit of an expensive hobby, but it's if you get into it, it's very satisfying.
Absolutely, yeah. It's again like I really feel like I get this incredible creative outlet in a sense, right? Well, I was an industrial machinist up until the start of the pandemic, right? And sure, I made things with my hands in a sense, but it was still sort of like I put something in the machine, I pressed the green button, it made stuff. Cool. Then if I sat and made a 3D model for work or so on my computer, it's still just sort of moving a mouse around, right? And I live in an apartment. I don't really have like a garage I can go out and do wood workshop in or anything, right? So the hobby has been this amazing way to have a creative outlet. I get to work with my hands. I get to build stuff and view things in a more creative light, in a sense, right? And to be able to come up with these wild ideas at times, for example, for kit bashing, right? Just like, oh, I could totally do this with this, right? It's incredibly satisfying. Something actually that, speaking of that creativity and just wild ideas, is the miniature apothecary who was my guest during the first episode. He recently, during a stream, since he live streams on Twitch here and there, mentioned a concept that he had seen for a homebrew chapter called the White Unicorn.
Interesting.
Myself and another just went wild with this, and I was like, I'm legit bringing out my Space Marine kits now. I'm building this.
Yeah.
So basically, Space Marine wielding chainswords in both hands and having a chainsword horn, horn out of his helmet. I can
see that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna put the concept up on screen here. Up on screen here as well as I can show the work in progress I have. I haven't gotten that far, but that sort of became like it went from this just him like, oh, I saw this cool concept, to then us making it, and now it's kind of just like a community project, generally going around in his Discord, but he's shared it on Twitter as well, right? It's just like, if anyone wants to make them, make them. They look cool. They're wacky. It's just amazing stuff. It's so many opportunities to make something wild and hilarious and cool.
And it comes with a wicked name as well. Like, who wouldn't want to own like that wicked name with a space unicorn? It's like, it's dope, man.
The White Unicorns.
Pretty cool.
It's not something that I would have thought of, actually. Like when I think homebrew chapter, my mind doesn't go to unicorns, I gotta admit.
I guess in a way, you're just like, what would be funny?
Then again, you do have the Carcharodons or the space sharks. And again, when I think Space Marines, my mind does not go to sharks. But yeah. So there again, that's just to show that you can make these really amazing, just in-depth cool concept with something that seems like it's never gonna fit. Like if someone told you, hey, can you come up with a group of genetically altered warriors in friggin' cathedral spaceships in space, launching themselves in ballistic rockets to board others? They shoot bolters that have bullets the size of cola cans that are rocket propelled. They can live for up to thousands of years, right? I don't think anyone would naturally think, oh, unicorns, that'll be a nice theme. Or even then, like, sharks. Like, your mind goes to space, or at least mine does. Mine doesn't go to the ocean. But when the mind does go there, when you're like, what if you can still make these really cool, really unique concepts? Like for example, you could make space crabs. Sounds ridiculous maybe, but it could be entirely focused that they have, instead of like power fists, they just have sort of like power clamps or
like
something.
power
Right?
claw type things, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much potential.
I feel like
can
we
go
gave
wild. It's cool.
Games Workshop that one for free. You can use that whenever you want.
Yeah, that's one for free. Games Workshop. Warcom team, if you're listening, feel free to send that on to Games Workshop. Be sure to credit me, by the way. I deserve a plaque at Warhammer World, I believe. Founder of Spacecraft. That doesn't actually sound that good when you say it like that. No, don't. I can skip the plaque. I don't need that. Just ignore that idea.
Is that
but
also
feel free
like
to have
maybe like
space crabs,
outside of a
or
doctor's surgery? You know, like, look, the space crabs.
Yeah. Oh jeez. I just thought of you know how like Space Marines go through this, or well, people go through this really long trial and initiation to be chosen to become like initiates. I just kind of thought of like when they complete the trials to get to be able to become a Space Marine, that what lets them know is just that an apothecary goes up to them and is like, brother, you have space crabs.
Yeah, bad news. But we've got a unit just for you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but like again, it's just so wacky, so wild, and
it's one thing. Like when you were saying earlier about the guy you know that's making like space game, it's like that's just awesome. Like I would, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, Lockmar.
I think you've shown me a couple of photos before.
Yeah,
it'd be awesome. It'd be awesome just to see like the finished
have.
product, because that's just like creative there.
Yeah, I have told him to keep me updated, and once he's on the podcast, I'm gonna tell him on the podcast, so it's on record, to keep me updated. So he can't sneak his way out of it. He has to finish them, and he has to keep us updated. But before we ramble on a bit too long, speaking of miniatures, how about the miniature showcase? And again, for anyone listening, and this is one that I absolutely won't forget because this is always part of the episodes. Me linking something in the middle isn't, but this always is. So I will put these up on screen so that you can view these amazing hobby creations along with us. So first we have this amazing Chaos Marine by Hayne Minis. Now I gotta admit, I don't know exactly what Marine this is. He sent me some that I was allowed to showcase, but they were of two different kinds.
Yeah,
and I wasn't sure which was which. Either way,
definitely, like,
stunning work. Jeez,
the green coloured effect to it does give me that, you know, the Nurgle side of like looks to it. I love what he's done with the chains and the cloth material there as well, going for a different like purple colour. But it just
the bolter ammunition really pops. Yeah. I like that. I could sort of see, and I don't know what the idea behind them is. If you're listening to this, Hayne Demonist, feel free to let us know in the comments. But I could sort of see, imagine like an Alpha Marine that's just sort of been wandering alone for a while, so his armor is all like dirty down and worn down, right? Like I can see that kind of turquoise undertone in a sense, but that might just be me.
Yeah.
The eyes, like the red eyes, are really neat.
Yeah, you couldn't afford that. What I always struggle with is eyes in making models, and that is just really sleek. It's just quite perfect, actually. It's a simple red, nothing too fancy.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Absolutely. All the colors go great with each other as well. I also love so the trims. You see this very well on the to our left, the leg there, the like arrows up. Like it doesn't stand out a ton from the background color. Like if those were gold, that would stand out. But they're still noticeable trims.
You can still see
they just work so well.
I like the little like very tiny detail, and it's really it's just the little dots of silver on just it just finishes it off, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Nice.
I am kind of curious of if he was to base this one, if he was to place it in an environment, what kind of environment he would make
if I had
for
to take a gamble, I probably would look at more like Blade style theme, because that's the vibe I'm getting off it. Could be.
I could see sort of just like, imagine this kind of just standing in the ruins of a city they just like brought down, right? So just like some rubble, maybe in a broken street or something. I could see that. But and then again, for the like idea I'm seeing, like the image I'm seeing, you would kind of need to have this like the smoke in the background as well.
No, it's
so
definitely well done model. It's awesome.
Absolutely, yeah. Number 2 is actually 3 models, but they sort of go together. The Legio Astorum Titans by Variance Hammer. And these are then 2 Warhound Titans and a Reaver Titan from Adeptus
these are awesome looking, like.
And absolutely, and they're actually named as well. So we have the Vulpus Victis and Nachthex, I think, Warhounds, and the Gatebreaker, I believe.
What I like, so just looking at them, obviously the bases look really cool, like very well done there. Like you've got the one at the back there standing on a tank. That's just awesome.
Yeah, I was just gonna point. I was actually gonna point that out as well, because he has these, like, I think that's epic scale models. And I actually noticed as well. I think, let me zoom in. Yeah. If you zoom in on the image of the Warhound to the left, there are
so you can see.
soldiers
that is awesome.
on the ground. I did not notice that first. Gee, and there's horseback soldiers on the by the other Warhound.
That must be painful to paint, because they're very tiny by the looks of things.
And painful to put in place as well.
Jeez, if I had to pick out of all those, it probably would be the one on the left. Personally, it's got it gives me that like just a bit of a Terminator look compared to the others. Don't get me wrong, they're all good, but that one I enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean the 2 Warhounds are the same class. It's just the pose there. I do like the contrast that the white that Vulcan Victus there, the one on the left, has on like the fully white head. But they are absolutely stunning work in general. Like the golden trim is super clean, and you can even see like again, I'm using the left one as some examples here. You can see like some dirt on the very bottom of the leg paneling there, and I think that's like some. I think that's like some it's some dirt on. I think it's some dirt on the bottom of the like toes of the Reaver Titan in the back. At first I thought it was like a heat effect of sorts, but I don't want to say that for sure. Also, if you zoom in on the head of the Reaver, amazingly neat job with all the like lenses.
I love the trims he's done there. It just you mentioned it earlier about like it standing out. It just works. Like the blue and gold, it's a nice look, and it just
really does.
Looks smart.
Almost the colors of Sweden.
Yeah,
that's blue and yellow. Those are colors, so almost. But again, really amazing work, Variance Hammer. Absolutely stunning. The third one is an. I do apologize if this is meant to be someone else. I just know that the model is Alea from the Adeptus Custodes range by PlutoniumOD. I know that this is painted slightly differently than the box art Alea, so it could be someone like it could be meant to be some other character. I just know it's the model. So really great work making the bone white and the shading on every, like, it's all that bone white, but it doesn't feel like it's all, like it doesn't feel overwhelming.
It looks a bit worn in a way, but it's still smart enough type look. I personally, for me, I like the contrast and blade, just different colours there. That looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, so I do like you can see the slightly on like behind the knee pads and also on the elbows, the like slight golden decoration there, the filigree. Because it's not too much, it's there.
It's a nice look. It's different. It's awesome. The red cape is awesome. The shoulder pads, great.
Great work on the hair as well.
It's not like bubbled up or stuff like that. It looks quite thin and it's nice. The dagger is also as well.
Yeah. I also want to say that amazing work on the because I always don't do faces because I cannot do skin tones that look natural at all. I just if there's a helmet, I'm putting that helmet on. If there isn't a helmet, I'm finding a helmet. So amazing work there. I struggle with doing that.
Yeah,
so absolutely stunning.
It's very awesome. Nice model, that one.
Yeah, very awesome. And again, if you're listening to this and this isn't a Leia, just using the Leia model, let us know in the comments, please.
Yeah.
Also, before we move on, I really like how the base, and I don't know if this is like the standard base with the kit, but how it's like, it's not a lot, but it really does a lot.
It almost looks like
right?
she's like in a ruin, just searching for some artifacts. It looks like that style of flooring, like very elvish looking.
Yeah, I really do. And I have lost track. This is because the numbering of these was tossed around in our document, but this is number 4, so second to last in our little showcase. A Squadron of Imperial Guard by Baal.
These
Baal
are
budget
awesome. These are some of the models that I've got,
they are the Tempestuous Scion models,
what he's done here with the colours, it's awesome. I love the red.
It actually says Scions on the flag.
It's awesome. The mask as well, like that you were saying about the helmets and so on. It covers up that face. It's awesome. Just the red there, it really stands out. It's nice.
Yeah. I also like how he's based them, but he hasn't done this like massive thing where it's just like we're standing on hills and there's bones and corpses, but it's just they're on this like muddy battlefield, right? And that's the guard. That's what the guard do. They're always in battle, right? So I really like how that adds to the guard.
It is awesome. The ship behind it as well is pretty good asset that you've got in there as well. That's the lines there are beautiful. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I do love how this is set up in a little diorama way as well. Yeah.
Again, amazing color, like amazingly executed color as well, and choice as well. Like the choice of just doing the green tubes or cords to the like guns there. Like I would personally never have sat there and gone, I'm gonna try green.
Dang, what I like out of
really works.
Any of those units there is the one closest to you. He's got a purple cap on. It's just. I would never have actually thought, purple and red going together, and it looks really good on him there.
I think the 2 to the right also have a purple cap, or the beret.
Awesome. Especially the lights they've got there with the green as well. That's a pretty awesome effect. Yeah.
Great work from Baal there. And last but not least, we have the appropriately named Brian the Telemon by Marsh Mallow.
This looks like a great piece. It's very just the gold just stands out.
Yeah.
It is awesome to look at.
The gem right underneath his chest. It looks so glistening.
It does. The effect
that really
he's put on that is awesome because it almost does look like it is just a jewel that you plucked from somewhere and just bam.
He just scraped away a hole, stole his wife's
it's all for the cause.
Said this is gonna go on the dreadnought.
That is awesome little piece to just look at if you just got on somewhere.
Absolutely, and like that's one reason why I have never really personally considered painting Custodes. Well, one, they don't really appeal to me personally, but at the same time I'm like, I don't know how I would go about painting something that is almost entirely gold and not look like I just dipped it in gold and called it a day, right? But Jesus, great work. Absolutely stunning.
The red is very limited there, but it works. It separates it from it being fully all gold. That's what's awesome about it.
Yeah, I love that it's a bit of a it's a dynamic pose as well. The one thing I'm a bit curious. I think that could be the angle, because I know that's the case with like all of my Marines. Once I put them on a base, they look cool in my hand. Then when I put them down to take a picture, it looks like they're on a freaking 45-degree angle backwards. One thing I'm curious about is the Ultramarine banner on the bottom right. And I'm kind of curious if there's like a specific idea, like an idea that Brian the Telemon here is in a specific war zone, or something happened, or he just felt like, I'm gonna put an Ultramarine banner here. Also, geez, the base looks really good as well.
It looks like he's done that first and then put it on top. I could be wrong, but it is awesome. That.
I mean, I think that's the best way to go about it, because that allows you to pose the legs the right definitely. Height, you know? Like, I did that for my Leviathan. So I didn't paint the base, I just built it up, and then I posed my Leviathan on it before gluing, right? So that way I knew that this is going to go at an appropriate height, like the leg is going to be lifted correctly.
Yeah, no.
So I think that I personally, from like my experience, like there could be some amazing way I'm missing, but I think that's the best way to go about it personally.
Awesome models that just great work, very good work.
Absolutely great work. I love it. Amazing work with Brian the Telemon from Marsh Mallow. And again, as always, I will be linking everyone's Twitter, everyone in the showcase here, to their Twitter, where they ever so kindly allowed me to showcase their models. So absolutely, if you're listening to this, go show them some love, give your support, and just check out their amazing creations.
It's only by inspiration.
But that is the end of the miniature showcase, which is starting to bring us to the end of the Voxcast episode as a whole. Yeah. But before we end, there is the question of the episode, which is I tend to ask a question, or make a habit of asking a question at the end of the episode, which you, my guest, gets to be the first one to answer, and hopefully whoever listens may feel like answering in the comments as well and engage a bit. So the question for this episode is, if you could make a new unit for any faction in 40k, Age of Sigmar, or Fantasy, what would you make?
Weirdly enough, I would like to have a... I like the Skaven. I talk about them a lot. It would be kind of awesome to have a Rat Overlord, so maybe with a bit more enhanced technology, rather than... obviously they're just monstrosity, but it would be awesome to have that bit more intelligence and one a bit stronger and a bit more out there. Maybe wielding like a hammer instead of just a rattling gun or something like that. Just it'd be awesome. Maybe having a bit of like a jet on it or something like that, just to make it a bit faster. But yeah, that's what I would love to see.
Yeah, absolutely, geez, yeah. I think for me personally, and I know I've gone on rambling about this before, I would make Primaris Terminators. Just I need them. So yeah, if you're listening this far into the Voxcast, feel free to give us your answer of what you would create, what kind of unit you would create in either 40k, Age of Sigmar, or Fantasy for any faction. Let us know in the comments. But now that brings us to the end of this Voxcast. So I want to take the time to thank you so much.
It's been a
for
pleasure,
dude.
As always, it's always fun.
Absolutely, it's been my pleasure as well. It's been a lot of fun having you on and talking a lot of fantasy, everything actually. A lot of 40k, a lot of AOS, and a lot of fantasy all together actually. Which is really refreshing in a sense. It's a bit of everything. It up a little bit. Absolutely. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me here, and thank you to anyone who has listened this far, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.